Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your man, Tim Swain. And sometimes being an entrepreneur can be very difficult, especially when it requires leaving a dream job in Paris to face the grueling challenges of entrepreneurship right here in Ghana. So today, I will sit down with award-winning CEO and founder of Basecamp Initiative as we discuss the challenges, the successes, and not just how to be successful in business, but how to be successful in life.
My name is Sunita Krgabe. I'm half Ghanaian, half Francophone, and the name of my business is Basecamp Initiative. So Basecamp has been in existence for 3 years. We just celebrated 3 years of existence actually in February. That would be the 12th of February. It's funny you would ask that because Basecamp has been in the making for roughly, I would say 4 to 5 years, even though it's 3 years old. So we'll get to that part of the story. I'm a creative at heart. I've always been a creative. I started with fine arts, and then I gravitated towards graphic design during my training. And so I basically come from a lineage of artists, we have fashion designers in the family, architects, interior designers, and so on and so forth. So it kind of made sense. It was the right choice, It felt like the only choice, to be honest. And then my dad was in the tech industry, so combination of fine arts and tech, I kind of started leaning towards graphic design. It made sense. So with that in mind, so basically, going through the different stages of the creative industry and the advertising industry and so on. I've went from being a graphic designer to a senior graphic designer to an art director and so on, being able to lead a team, direct campaigns, direct ideas, direct settings, during production and so on and so forth. And then today I'm a creative director. Now, when it comes to what I've done in the past, I've been a freelancer, so I understand what it takes to make a living as a freelancer. I've been an employee as well in the advertising industry, the corporate advertising industry for quite a while, and today I'm an entrepreneur. So I think, originally starting with fine art, painting was always, painting was part of my routine at home, in school. I've always been a very visual person, okay? Always been a very visual person. I'm actually more visual than textual, And that I'm very fond of the practical aspect of things versus the theoretical aspect of things, even though I have a very critical mind, yeah? And so starting with fine art and gradually, after a while, I felt like I've always wanted more for myself. And I felt like being an artist, a fine artist, would be would come with some limitations in a context like Africa. And I've always seen myself living long-term in Africa, irrespective of the fact that my training comes from the West. So I did take a graphic design degree in Italy, in Milan. So I was out there for a good 4 years. Also worked a little bit in the industry over there. And I realized, so high school in Ghana, then I moved to Italy. And then after a year out, from university, I realized that the working scene wasn't too much, the Milanese working scene wasn't too much my scene. So I decided to move from Italy to France and pursue my professional career in Paris, which is originally where I was born, and I sort of have affiliation. That's where the French and Francophone side comes from, France and Ivory Coast as well. And so I did work in the luxury fashion industry when I was in Paris because so my mother is a fashion designer, my sister is a fashion designer, my grandmother was a fashion designer. Yes, so yeah, I know. So I mean, there was an opening. I was like, okay, and funny enough, the design industry, and I would say more so a graphic design industry in Paris is heavily saturated, obviously, because it's a metropolis, and you know everybody wants to be a designer in Paris and stuff, you know. And my plan was like, I need to have the 3 capital of designs on my CV. Milan, London, and Paris. That was the plan the whole time. So I studied in Milan. I wanted to work in Paris, and I was like, okay, London will come down the line, which never came. But you know, the plan changed. But with that in mind, every time I showed up at an interview in Paris, I was always number 358. Oh yeah, it was crazy. It was very intense, and there was, you know, I had to go through challenges such as, you know, being a person of African descendants in an environment that is highly discriminational, and it wasn't easy. You know, it was always about the black girl in the room. It was always, I have an Indian name. Sunita is an Indian name, so throughout my throughout my upbringing, even in school, you know, when they do the roll call and say Sunita, I raise my hand. People are like, is that a joke? You know. So yes, it's an Indian name. There isn't much of a story behind that one, but there was also, you know, people didn't really know what to expect when they hear my name, and my last name is not a typical local name as well. So and then I show up, and then there's the black girl in the context. Like, I had to go through so much racial bias when I was in Italy, but it was more of an experience for me. It was I was exposed to the fashion industry, I was exposed to the design industry, to the interior industry. So Italy was an amazing experience. And being a black person in Milan was totally different from being a black person in Paris, which I was already used to because I was born in Paris anyways. And back in the day, I used to travel to Paris at least once or twice a year throughout my upbringing, yeah, because we have family in Paris. So it was a very difficult experience in the sense that France evolved a lot over time in terms of racial bias, because Paris rapidly became a metropolis to the extent where in the streets of Paris you would see even more foreigners to date. You would see 60% in a cafe or in the streets, or you know, in the routine activities, you would see more foreigners than you would actually see locals, Parisians or French people, you know. So it's a country that became more accepting of foreigners, especially as they were the working force, you know, in the country. And my time there, trying to get a job in Paris was difficult, irrespective of my credentials or my expertise. So there was an opening in the fashion industry. I joined, even though that wasn't my training. But it was close enough because I was a visual merchandiser, which had to do with, in a luxury fashion setting, so it had to do with creating settings and also sort of like display of merchandise before the collections come out. So we craft what the window will look like or the interior of the shop will look like, just so that the product is in the limelight and makes you psychologically, because we study psychology and all that. So it makes you want to purchase the product irrespective of what it costs, you know. So basically we play on emotions, colors, display, all kinds of artifacts that will bring value to the actual garment or product that is being sold. And that was also a very interesting experience that I added to my journey as a designer. So I'm kind of a fully rounded designer, though I studied graphic design. I'm involved in interior design. I'm involved in fashion design, not by choice, but more by, you know, family inheritance, and then graphic design as well. So I always wanted to come back to West Africa, always. The idea was to spend as much time as possible in Europe, to refine my craft, to get as much experience as possible, and come down to sort of like apply what I've been able to learn in the West. I mean, I've seen amazing campaigns that were to sensitize people, not to sell, or amazing campaigns that were to better people's lives, you know, amazing campaigns that were meant to feed the needy, and so on and so forth. So I saw the power of creativity and how it could be stretched and fleshed out in different contexts if it was being used for the right purposes, right? And when I came back from Cannes, I wasn't the same person, to be honest with you. And I started giving more thoughts to my ideas and realizing that there is possibility even in the realm of the impossible. And that's when I think Basecamp started growing, to be honest with you. And when I say it was 5 years in the making, it was like every time I get an idea, I'll put it down. Every time I get an idea, I'll put it down in my notebook. Every time I see how I could help better the creative industry, I'll put it down in a notebook. Every time I see a conflict in the creative industry, I'll also put it down in a notebook. And it wasn't called Basecamp yet back then. It was just ideas. But that will all streamline towards uplifting the creative industry, which is a very undermined industry in Africa and especially in Ghana. You know, usually if you're being a creative is a 21st century term, right? Back then it was being an artist. And if you're an artist, it's because you feel that everything else, white collar jobs, right? Where we come from in Africa. Yeah. So it was like, I mean, what are the ministries doing for us? What is the government doing for us to sort of flip the narrative and so on? And then I realized that, you know, it's about time we stop complaining and we start doing for ourselves, you know? And once you do for yourself, others will line up as well, you know? So I realized that there was a niche aspect in the shared workspace or co-working industry that hadn't been catered for, because most co-working hubs would cater for tech and business. And being a creative, I felt like, why not actually create a space that uplifts creatives in every way possible, be it for work purposes, be it for leisure purposes, be it for exposure purposes, be it as a think tank, just to exchange ideas, so that we can actually develop groundbreaking ideas for the future of the continent, a space where people can just be and run away from the pressures of home, you know, the expectations of African parents, a place where you could sort of like create that big brother, little brother kind of effect where as a student and now learning or looking for opportunities with regards to what you could do as a professional, being in a setting where, okay, I would see a photographer shooting and I actually have the chance to brush shoulders with him and ask him or her how to use the camera, how to handle the lens, you know, what are the softwares that they would use on a routine basis and so on and so forth, which are things opportunities that you don't get the chance to have in our daily routine, right? But being in a setting where people from different parts of the creative industry will come together as under an umbrella and will live together, work together, play together, and grow together was how the seed for Basecamp was sown, basically. So Basecamp is a lot of things. It's a physical space and it's also a lifestyle. Okay, it's an ideal, to put it mildly. Now, there is a whole vision behind the name, actually. There is base and there is camp, okay? Base is, I would say, the vision. Camp is the mission. So Basecamp is not purely dedicated to creatives, it's for creative thinking purposes. So irrespective of which industry you're in, be it a lawyer, be it a doctor, be it a nutritionist, or so on and so forth. If you want more in your lifestyle, in your work life, the idea is to adopt a space like Basecamp that will help you develop creative thinking skills. So to be more specific, in terms of the services we offer at Basecamp, so we have membership options. daily, weekly, and monthly membership options to our workspaces. We have indoor workspaces, outdoor workspaces. So it's a matter of just, picking up a form, filling out your registration form and, choosing which option is more convenient for you. And working from here allows you to be in an environment, an ecosystem that facilitates innovation and creativity versus working from home, where you might be a bit distracted based on what your home setting is like, and seeing other people work in the same setting at times inspires one another. That's for the workspace aspect of things. We have other facilities such as meeting rooms, conference rooms as well. So if you need to have a quick meeting, a professional meeting, you can book our meeting room or our conference room on an hourly basis for a presentation, a brainstorming session, a training, or a workshop. We also have event spaces where you can actually implement your ideas. It could be a workshop, it could be a talk, it could be a karaoke night, it could be a poetry night, it could be we've done creative sessions around film. We've done book launches, we've done album launches, and so on and so forth. Just a space where what was once an idea can come to life. And I believe our third area of the third aspect that we cater to is leisure. And leisure would be, so once a member, you have access to our leisure activities, but also you have access to some of the logistics, the leisure logistics we have in-house. So we have board games and so on. We offer free coffee and tea. And then we have lifestyle activities such as yoga, fitness, and so on and so forth. In 2019, we got nominated Best Co-working Hub in Accra by the coworker.com platform, which is an international platform for that references co-working hubs across the continent. So Ghana voted again for Basecamp. And last year in 2020, after reopening the hub, end of 2020, we were nominated for an award, another award, which was basically, I got the most respected CEO award from the Ghana Business Industry CEO Award in the Business Incubator category. And that's another reminder of the fact that the idea here was to do something bigger than myself and to be able to cater to a community that is very much undermined in this setting. So if I were to give some words of encouragement to whoever is watching this, would be that, there is pride in doing something great in your home, and home is where you come from. It's not where you grew up. Home is where you come from. And there might be a strong disconnect at times. Like I was raised in a family that traveled a lot. And there might be a disconnect at times to, when people ask me where is home, sometimes I have to think twice. But today I call Ghana home only because this is where I was able to apply what most matters to me. This is the environment that accepted me, irrespective of experience, irrespective of credentials, irrespective of race, This is the environment where there was room for growth. This is the environment where, irrespective of the challenges, I was able to uplift myself and uplift a whole community of people, And with that in mind, I would say, every environment comes with its own challenges, to be honest with you. And a lot of people have this perception that things are better in the West than they are in Africa, and specifically in Ghana. They might be, but at the end of the day, it's a matter of priority. I always prioritize doing something bigger than myself and doing something for my continent. So with that in mind, I'm ready to face whatever challenges I come across in this environment, as long as I'm living my passion. And my passion is helping other people through creativity as a means of, innovation, So I think people need to prioritize and people need to decide if they would rather live a life in a comfort zone or live a life in an uncomfortable setting, but being able to, fulfill their purpose. Because at the end of the day, it's all about purpose, to be honest. And that's what I would like to leave on the table today. And I thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to be part of this conversation and to be able to share my story. A story that has had a lot of ups and downs, that hasn't been rosy throughout, but I've been determined, I've been driven, irrespective of whatever challenges came my way, and I never dropped the ball. That was essential throughout the journey. I never dropped the ball. Even when we close, we reopen. Even when we fail, we keep continuing. It's all a matter of perspective. So never dropping the ball. There you go. Thank you.